One of the most difficult moments in parenting is when your child's choices do not match the life you envisioned for them. I'm Dr. Naomi, and this is From the Doctor's Chair, where clinical insight meets intentional living. There is a quiet kind of grief that can emerge in parenting, and it doesn't always get named. It is the grief of realizing that the path your child is choosing looks different than the one you imagined. And that can feel unsettling because as parents, we don't just raise children, we carry visions. Visions of what their lives might look like. Visions shaped by our experiences, our sacrifices, and our hopes for them. And when those visions don't align with their decisions, it can feel like something is slipping. But here is what I want to gently offer. Your child's life was never meant to be a reflection of your vision. It was always meant to be an unfolding of their own. And that distinction matters because when we hold too tightly to what we hoped for, we can begin to respond in ways that feel like correction, pressure, and disappointment, even when we don't intend it. And our children can feel that. Not always in what we say, but in how we say it, in what we question, and in what we resist. And over time, what they may begin to experience is not support, but distance. Not because they don't care what we think, but because they are trying to remain true to who they are becoming. This is where parenting stretches us, because it asks us to do two things at once: to hold space for our own emotions and still show up with openness and steadiness for our child. And that is not easy because sometimes there is disappointment. Sometimes there is concern, but the question becomes, where do those emotions belong? Do they become something your child has to carry or something you process with intention? Because when a child feels responsible for managing a parent's disappointment, it can create distance in the relationship. But when a parent is able to hold their own emotions and still remain connected, now that creates safety. And that safety allows the relationship to remain intact, even when the paths are different. And ultimately, what will sustain your relationship with your child over time is not whether they chose the path you envisioned, but whether they felt seen, respected, and supported as they became who they are. So if you are a parent who is learning how to hold your own vision while making space for your child's, here are 3 things I want you to remember. First, it's okay to grieve the vision you held, but do that work in a way that does not burden your child. Second, stay curious about who your child is becoming rather than focused on where they are going. And third, relationship matters more than alignment. Connection will carry you further than control ever could. If this perspective supported you today, I invite you to share it with another parent and subscribe to my channel so we can continue this conversation here each Monday from the Doctor's Chair.